So guys, there are 4 nations in War Thunder right now that don't have a top tier aircraft anymore since the top tier was extended to 14.0 in BR. And to be honest, I have a feeling that the next generation of aircraft that is added, the 14.0s that get added, will be more or less all 4.5 generation jets, right? So these 4 nations, Russia, Japan, China, and Sweden, what are the first vehicle that comes to mind that can be added to these nations according to the leaks, according to what makes sense, that could be added very soon, like next patch in early next year, So, as you know, of course, the US and the Israelis, they have the F-15Es and Is, right? The Germans, they have the Eurofighter. The British, they have the Eurofighter. The Italians, they have the Eurofighter. The French have the Rafale. So it left us with the USSR, the Japanese, the Chinese, and Sweden without any proper top tier. And no 4.5 generation jet, right? So what could actually come? What is the first aircraft that comes to mind? We start with the Russians. The Russians is a clear winner, the Su-30SM. Why the Su-30SM? Well, because it was on some leaks. So it would make sense that they're just jumping on that. Obviously, because a lot of people love the Su-30. And to be honest, it is one of the last types of flanker fuselages that we need to be placed one in a tandem configuration, right? It would make more sense to have the earlier models before and stuff, but since Russia, doesn't have a 14.0 and the leaks are saying it, it would make a lot of sense. And even with the little tease that we had in the decal there for 2025, they show it an Su-30SM. I think the Su-30SM will come to the Russians. We already talked a little bit about these aircraft, so I just not gonna waste too much time, but just think that it is a heavily modernized Su-27. Like I said, be placed in a tandem configuration. It has the canards of the Su-34 and 33. It has thrust vectoring engines with way more power, 142 kilonewtons, so around almost 10 kilonewtons each engine more than the Su-34, for example, being a little bit lighter, and of course with thrust vectoring. Apart from that, it has an amazing PESA radar. It would be the first hybrid radar, being electronic and mechanically scanned radar, so it can basically look 90 degrees to the left, to the right, upwards and downwards. It is a very modern radar that bars, right? It would carry 12 pylons and be one of the best aircraft, if not the best aircraft in the game, depending on the missiles that it gets, right? So yeah, it would be interesting, and we could even see it carrying like 14 missiles on the very least. So it's scary, and it will probably be the aircraft that the Russians get as soon as the next patch, probably to top tier, right? Then we go for Japan. Japan, I have to talk about the Mitsubishi F2. I think it's an aircraft that it's about time already. It's an aircraft that we should be getting as soon as we possibly can, in my opinion. It is a heavily modernized F-16, pretty much, built in Japan, right? So IASA radar, active electronic scanned array radar, one of the most modern in the game for sure. It would be an amazing radar. It has enlarged wings and stuff, so in a general sense it will turn more and just be a bit better in a dogfight, but also lose a little bit more energy because of that. So overall it would be a heavily modernized in many systems of the F-16C, but with an IASA radar and enlarged wings. So it would be an interesting aircraft, and of course only Japan can get it, so it would be crazy to not add this thing, to add uniqueness to that tech tree that now is filled with copy paste, right? So basically, apart from maybe the F4EJ Kai, and even then, I mean, it has some interesting features to it, but most of the features that it has are copy paste. The F-16 AOCU there is also filled with copy paste, although slightly small changes there, but still very much copy paste. The F-15J, the F-15JM with different missiles and stuff. But at the end of the day, like I said, it is very much a copy paste tech tree, right? So the Mitsubishi F2, although it is based on the F-16, it is an aircraft that it's unique enough and it needs to be added. For China, I think we have 2 options over here, but of the same aircraft basically, the J-10B or the J-10C. I still believe that we will get a new version of this aircraft, being the 4.5 generation, 14.0 for China, the next one. This would be just a modernized version of the J-10A that we have in the game. So it would be an APESA, use APESA or an AESA radar. It would have more power, it would be modernized in the systems and stuff, use better missiles as well. I mean, all these aircraft, they can use better missiles if they want to add them. And that's a factor that we're gonna get into in the Swedish part. But yeah, missiles can be added with the normal missiles that we already have, or the next generation of IR and radar missiles. So we don't know yet, but in a general sense, it would be very similar to what we have right now in the J-10 with a modernized take on the aircraft. So it would be very, very cool to see it. And yeah, I just think that it makes sense. It will probably be the aircraft that we will see in China. And last but not least, the Swedish. The Swedish, here we have to talk about weapons. So I don't know what Gaijin will do, okay? I don't know if they're gonna add the next generation of missiles, like I was saying. So I don't know if they're gonna add A120Cs, R77-1s, Mikai-Rs and Iris-Ts and R74Ms and, AIM-9Xs and stuff. We don't know when they're gonna add these missiles, if they're gonna add these missiles, right? So, but it takes into account, because at first, if we don't see any type of new missile, if we only use the RB99s in the Swedish and the AIM-9s there, at the end of the day, the only upgrade that it makes sense here is the Gripen E. You would have a much powerful engine, so it would be on par doing super cruise and everything with the Rafale and Eurofighter. It would turn like, normal aircraft, but it would have way more power. It would have an AESA radar, modernized stuff, so it would be on par with the Eurofighter and the Rafale that we have in the game, right? But at the same time, if we do receive better missiles and stuff, they could use the Gripen C for now and, add the Gripen E in a later stage, or even add the Gripen E right now and add the Gripen E with modernized weapons as well in a later stage. But in a general sense, they can have an early and late models of the C or E Gripens to differentiate with more modernized weapons, right? But I think at the end of the day, if we are gonna remain with the same weapons, the Gripen E is the one that makes more sense. But there is a little thing about this. I personally think that the Gripen E will not be the first aircraft that we will see being added to the Swedish. I personally think that the F-18 is way more likely, especially that was showed on the leak lists and of course on the decal that we talked about. The F-18 would not be on par with these other aircraft. It would be just a normal F-18C, but at the end of the day, or an A+ or something like that, but at the end of the day, it would be just an older 80s aircraft that has modernized missiles. So it wouldn't be on par with the other ones. Even if it has a lot of performance and the F-18 is a scary aircraft and it's amazing, I don't see it having the same BR as the Eurofighter and Rafale. So, although I still believe that the F-18 will come first, the Gripen would make more sense, and you can expect the F-18 coming very soon, I think. But the Gripen coming, the Gripen E, coming throughout 2025 in one of the patches to actually complete the Swedish tech tree and have a 4.5 generation jet there. This is my opinion, of course. I know people get hurt by my opinion, but yeah, this is only my opinion, okay? So yeah, these are the 4 aircraft that I think are the most likely ones to be added. Of course, we could see other things. We could see an Su-27 SM-3. We could see an Su-35. We could see a new version of a J-11 or something like that for the Chinese. We can have many, many aircraft, but at the end of the day, these are the 4 ones that I think, looking at the leaks, looking at the, teases and what makes sense and everything, these would be the ones. Okay, guys? So I see you guys on the next one. Make sure to subscribe, leave a comment, leave a like, and I see you guys on the next one. Bye, guys. See you.